we need a new design guideline. So some of us invented one. We call it natural capitalism. You can call it sustainability. I think it's got three basic principles, which are, first of all, use everything taken from the earth or borrowed from the future dramatically more productively. This solves most of the environmental problems facing us, some of the social ones, and buys time, perhaps the most important. But it's only the first step. It then leads us to asking, how are we going to redesign everything? And ultimately to how are we going to manage all of our institutions so that they are restorative of human and natural capital, the forms of capital that are in short supply. There's a long way to go. We now waste at least $300 billion a year buying and burning energy we don't need to deliver the services we do want. I'm not talking about conservation. I'm not talking about curtailment. That may be a good thing, and in dealing with climate change, it may come to that. But for the moment, let's just talk about technical efficiency. After the last run-up in oil prices, we cut oil use in this country 15% at the same time that we grew the economy 16%, just through vehicle efficiency standards. We can do that again. And we'd better, because a typical community is bleeding to death trying to buy energy from outside, spending 20% of its gross income. 80% of those dollars are gone. We're like somebody who's trying to take a bath and the hot water keeps running out, so various people tell us we need a bigger water heater, whether it be a nuclear one or a solar one. No, we don't. We need a plug. And this man invented one. And my computer is, there we go. His name is Wes Birdsall, General Manager of the Osage, Iowa Municipal Utility. Now, Osage, Iowa is hardly the hotbed of industrial innovation in the United States, but he did an interesting thing. He stepped across the meter to his customer's side to say, I'm going to help you use less of my product. Odd thing for a business person to do. He recognized that you don't want kilowatt hours. You wouldn't know what to do with one if it walked up and bit you. What you want are the services that energy delivers. Cold beer, hot showers, industrial shaft power. If he can get you those services cheaper through efficiency than through any kind of new supply, in his case a coal plant, that's the business to be in. He cut energy use, or saved $1 million a year in this small rural community, cut energy bills to half that of the state average, unemployment to half that of the national average, because with the lower rates, more factories came to town. So then he had to go back and do more efficiency. This is something we need to believe is possible. We can save 3/4 of the energy we now use, cost effective against today's prices. Most of us spend most of our time inside of things like this. And we know how to make any existing building 3- to 4-fold more efficient, new ones 10 times as efficient. Listen. That's waste. When you hear a building hum, those are dollars leaving. And that waste costs. Uses a lot of energy, more than half the electricity, responsible for a lot of the greenhouse gas emissions, a lot of materials use. And it delivers us a lousy quality of life. There are companies that are trying to deal with what you do inside a building. If I told you I was going to take your children and systematically poison them for their entire academic career, you'd string me up, but that's what we do when we use toxic cleaning materials inside of buildings. So this little company out of Chicago is working to get its products Green Seal certified. That's enabling them to win contracts by packaging them in little portion-controlled packets. You're not shipping all that water around. And by color coding it, you enable people for whom English is not a first language to know which chemical goes into which container for which purpose. We know that if you have good green buildings, clean air, daylighting, you're going to get higher test scores. There's a reason Walmart's going green. They ran an inadvertent experiment. They built half a green building. Cash registers in Walmarts are hardwired to Bentonville. They know what each cash register is selling. The green side had 40% higher retail sales. Boeing did a lighting retrofit, saved a lot of money. It enabled the workers to see better and cut their error rate 30%. For those of us who fly around on airplanes, this is very good news. Lockheed did a building that was designed around good daylighting, saved a lot of energy, which had a nice payback, but it reduced absenteeism 15% and increased labor productivity 15%. That enabled the company to win a contract, the profit of which paid for the building. What you spend on people is dramatically higher than anything that you spend on energy or other inputs to the building, but it's how you deal with that energy use in a building that enables you to get the increase in labor productivity. We know what it takes. Being able to see what you're doing, being able to have natural light, control your own space, hear yourself think, and breathe decent air. It's not all that, it's not rocket science. It's economic science. This article just out from Harvard Business Review, that owners of standard buildings face massive obsolescence, that they're reviewing their portfolios to see how green their buildings are and what they need to do to meet the growing market demand.